So
Mhm.
when it comes to, let's say building a product in this space, like what would be your advice to, let's say the engineering teams or the founders who are building something in this space in order to make sure that when they have a Gen AI use case in place and they are looking at a production ready instance beyond just the pilot phase, how do they go about the process of making sure that that use case right from day one is production ready, right from a product perspective?
I would say there's a few suggestions that I think
Hmm.
I can bring to the table. So one is bring the domain experts of people who your target users are into the loop. So to co-develop and kind of listen to what you're building. One problem I've seen is, when teams who don't have the domain expertise or don't have those types of users on the team, develop things in silo, bring it to the users, and then it becomes a situation of like, here's a tool. I built this just for you, and then it ends up being not um, even close to how they actually either practice medicine, how they actually work within that workflow. So you kind of have to de-risk by involving your users and understanding those workflows. Not necessarily has to be a physician. Maybe it could be a proxy like an advanced practice provider who's like a nurse practitioner or a physician assistant, potentially a nurse. So someone who is like a clinical informaticist, for example, who understands the workflows that they do. So you de-risk to understand the user experience or the user workflow for what you are designing for. The other thing that you'll notice that during the early pilot kind of feedback, sometimes users, again, if you ask the users what they want built, sometimes they'll say, build me a faster horse. So as a product leader or someone who's well versed in these experiences and have the domain expertise to kind of think how your users think, you kind of have to do almost like extrapolated thinking as to when they ask for formatting of your outputs, for example. Like, that's not how I format my clinical notes. Instead of giving them an ability or a button to give them a formatting capability, think as to what is the outcome that they're trying to achieve. They want something that is faster in potentially like generating the note in the first place, or maybe coming up with a report. So they're not asking for formatting. They want things to be done in the way that they're used to. So could you use one shot or multi-shot kind of prompting methods or context where you're feeding examples of the past work to format the output of the system in the way that the user is expecting it? You can do that at scale. I think that's the power of AI, is that you can deliver hyper personalization at scale.